Hello guys, thank you very much for joining in. Hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and become a better version of themselves. And today I am back with one more video session with my student, and which she's going to help us understand what has been her journey and what are challenges she faced while preparing for the FRM Level 1. Her name is Abha, and she cleared FRM Level 1 in July 2021 in her first attempt, and she's still in her college. Okay, so thank you very much for joining, Abha, and giving your time. And I hope this, by watching this video, the audience would understand how to prepare and what all challenges you faced. They will get motivated towards this. So thank you very much for taking out time for today's session.
Thank you so much for having me, sir. I hope that they get some insights from this video.
Sure. So now, before we start the conversation, the primary question that I generally ask to all the candidates is, when you decided to go for FRM, what was your status? What were you doing around that point in time?
So I'm actually currently studying. I'm in my third year of management studies. So I think when I was giving the exam, also I was in third year, but when I started, I was in my second year. I was just going through qualifications for certifications, financial certifications that I could earn with my bachelor's, and FRM was one of the certifications that came up, and I researched more about it, and then I was like interested in it, so I decided to go ahead with that.
Perfect. So when you decided for FRM and you looked at the books, so you must have seen the curriculum and all. Basically, what was the thought process? Was there any fear in terms of any particular book, or was there any advantage that you felt that, okay, this book I know because I've done it in my college or somewhere else?
So when I first went through the curriculum, it was very new because even though I'm doing finance in college, it wasn't the same, I would say, because the syllabus is very different, and the FRM syllabus and curriculum is more updated with the current scenario, and whereas in the Indian education systems, it's not that up to date. So I did have a fear of that, like whether I would be able to grasp the concepts or not, because looking at the books, they were first of all very thick books, and all of them had very hard, like big names and everything, so it was very daunting at first. As and when the classes started, then it was easier to grasp concepts and everything. And I think
please.
So I think when we started preparing, quants was very hard because you need a lot of practice for it, and quants with valuation, because valuation also has a lot of calculations. Right. So that was what was hard.
Before this exam, was there any competitive exam that you had given?
No, this was my first ever competitive exam.
Okay, perfect. And so which month you started preparation? So you gave exam in July. Which month you joined us and started the preparation?
So I was initially going to give the exam in May. So I had joined your classes in October, and I started studying in October itself, the previous year. And and then we just decided afterwards that it would be better to give it in July.
In the month of January, we had a call and we discussed about it. So primarily because I was of the opinion that a lot of previous exam people who could not give the exam would go for that. And luckily, it was good for you guys because the May exam got cancelled. So that was very good that we took that decision and we went for July. Now, when you started, so primarily in the month of October end around, you started the preparation. So what was the flow in the initial 2-3 months of your preparation? Because how were you preparing on your own?
Okay, so since I was a college student, I did have a lot of time, at least more time than the people who have are working full time. So I initially in October, November, I used to just read the chapters, so like 1 or 2 chapters a day, and just basically try and grasp the concepts, have a basic understanding of all the concepts in all of the books. So that's what I did in the first 2-3 months. And once the concept was strong enough, then I started practicing and revising and everything.
Okay, perfect. And for quant, that the way you said quant and book 4 is slightly problematic. So how did you dealt with that?
So I did struggle with content valuation even till Jan Feb, because it just wasn't sticking. But I remember we had a call and you said that you don't need to stick to these specific concepts. Like you can, like these specific chapters, you can have a basic understanding of them and focus on the other chapters and be well prepared in the other chapters. So that's what I did then afterwards. So I remember there was like station time series and everything.
Yes,
That was just not sitting. So the rest, so that's why after even till the exam, I didn't really dwell much on those chapters. I just focused on the others.
Right. Because
with practice, it got better.
Okay. The reason actually I said that primarily because in any exam you go, primarily you have certain chapters which will be tough, which will be very new. So you have to focus on what chapters you know, because even if you look at that for book 2, there are 20 questions that might come. From that chapter, hardly 1 or maximum 2 questions would come. So there's no point to take that stress for the 2 chapter, right? So, and now when you had a clear idea about how to deal with the quant ka thing, which you had a fear. Now, book 3 was primarily easy for you, financial markets and products. You were comfortable with that?
I was comfortable with that book.
Okay, and book 1 and book 3 primarily. Okay, and before, so the calculator part, okay, because see, this exam requires you to have knowledge about basic calculator, and the calculator itself is new. So, what was your experience with that calculator?
So I was very intrigued by the calculator because we had only used the standard calculator before. And actually now also for my college exams, I use that calculator, even though I'm not supposed to. But I use the scientific because it just makes things so easy.
Yes.
And your classes and your tutorials and all helped really a lot. And the calculations became so much easier using the calculator.
Okay. Now, when were you able to complete the entire reading of the book?
Of all books?
Yes.
I think I was done by Feb, maybe, like reading all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then did you do any second reading of book 2 and book 4?
I revised them again. So twice I finished till Feb and March.
Okay. So primarily one full reading and twice a reading of the book 2 and book 4, primarily valuation and risk model.
Yeah.
That's good. And then question bank solving. So the chapter wise question solving. So when did you completed that?
So I started with the question banks when I was doing my second revision. So that was also around Feb itself. Like I think I started around Feb starting the question bank. So question bank individual chapter ones.
And when did you completed it?
I think around March end, I think.
So within 2 months, you were able to solve the chapter-wise questions. And so, and since we had decided to go for July, so what were you doing after that, after April, May, and June?
So after that, I was just revising, and I had also gone through the GAP book.
Material. Okay.
Book, yeah. I had just gone through a few chapters that were difficult for me. I just gone through those, like the questions from the GAP book. And then I went through the mock tests and GAP sample papers, and I was just continuously practicing using those itself.
Right.
Because I think I needed more practice in that.
And did you solve our sectional test?
Yeah. So your sectional test and your mock test as well.
Okay. And you solved all the 4 mock papers that was provided?
Yeah.
And that was time driven. That means you gave proper 4 hours and for all the 4 mock papers you were able to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't complete it in time, but I did give it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, 1 month before the exam. So your exam date was around July 15, right?
15th, yeah.
15th,
yeah.
So 1 month, June 15 onwards, what were you doing? I mean, was it only hardcore revision or any new solving?
So I was going through, I think I read the chapters once in June, and after that, I was just focusing on revising, going through the question papers again, the mock papers.
Okay. And did you went to the question bank which you solved the chapter
Yeah.
wise in terms of what questions there was a mistake and all? Was there a strategy that you used?
I didn't go through the chapter-wise questions. I went through the sectional tests and the mock papers again. So all of the
Okay.
questions are mixed out and everything in that.
Okay. Okay. And what was your confidence level in terms of 1 month before the exam?
Not not very good. I was still making a lot of mistakes in the mocks as well. So it
Okay.
was, yeah. So I just kept revising again, because and going back to those questions again because I was feeling a bit underconfident. This was the first exam that I was ever doing, so that's why it was a bit like daunting at that time.
Right, right. See, primarily because the content that you have read in Swedger and the question banks are slightly different.
Easier, yeah.
Because it's till now you've seen the college exam where you read something and you get the more or less similar structured way. Okay,
Yeah.
I think so that was slightly different. Now, when you went for that exam, okay, on the day of the exam, what happened on the day of the exam for the 4 hours?
So I have this I never open my books on the day of the exam because it stresses me out a lot. So that's why I don't study anything or look at the books. I didn't even take the books with me when I went to the exam center. I had just gone through the formulas once before in the morning, and then I just left for the exam because I was listening to like music and going to the exam because I just wanted to calm my nerves at that point.
It was an afternoon exam or morning?
Morning exam.
Morning exam. So when you entered the center for 4 hours, what happened in that? First of all, were you able to complete the entire 100 question in that 4 hours?
Yeah, I was.
That means proper.
Proper. I completed it and then I just went through the questions again to see if I was getting anything or if I wanted to change my answers or anything. So I think I had about like a 5 minutes left on the exam after I finished all of my questions.
Okay. Now, you started directly from the first question or you use some other strategy like starting from the 50th question or starting from the end? What was the strategy?
So for the exam, I started from the first question itself. And if it was hard, then I would just skip it. So I would just go to questions that I am getting and solve them and then come back to the questions that I have not got. So I didn't want to spend a lot of time in the questions that I didn't get. Right.
Now, when you look at the entire 100 questions, how many questions you thought that, okay, I can get the answers. I know what is happening in that question. Or you were able to solve it properly?
I think around 20, 25, I had like pakka, that like I was very confident, with the answers. But the rest, mostly I had to do a bit of solving and do a bit of elimination.
Option elimination and
yeah.
Okay. But how many questions where you felt, okay, this is something very weird? I mean,
there were like around 10, 15 questions like that.
Right.
And I just
skipped it, or basically you just ticked it.
Yeah.
That is, and so now when you could not see the score on the day of the exam, right? Now, and I know post the exam we had a call and you guys were not satisfied with the exam, and we talked about this and because I think so you guys you and along with your friends who all gave that exam, right? You got slightly nervous that we are not sure how much answers we have done. Primarily because in college exams, out of 100 questions, I have solved 80 properly and I've got the answers. You have a very good idea to compare. But over here, it is more relative. And I was telling you that, you guys, that only that don't worry. It is primarily because if everybody is getting a difficult paper, then automatically the score would come down. And that is what we have seen, like around 50 score also, the students who got the exam. I've done the interview of that guy also. And that was very interesting because he prepared for 1.5 months only. Properly. Before that, he had college exams, end semesters and all of it. So he could not study.
Okay.
But 1.5 months, he prepared every day 3 chapters with solving. He was completing. So, I mean, he got cleared at the borderline, but he also told me in that interview that I should have given more time, so my pass percentage would have gone up. It would have been 56, 60, like that. Right. So now, obviously, when you gave the exam, you slightly got not satisfied. You thought that you might not clear, and I had told you that let us wait for the result and let's see how it goes. Okay, because the same reaction I've got from people who saw the score of 57, 60 also. They were also not happy. Okay. It's normal because looking at 65 score and you obviously feel that okay, it is not in the top quartiles, but yes, you do clear it. Don't worry about it. So now when you got the result, what was that reaction? What happened?
So
I'll change the question. I'll change the question.
Yeah.
So before you saw the result, what was the thought in your mind?
So I actually didn't even know that because they didn't release a particular date or anything when the result was going to come. So I just got a call from a friend saying that the results have come. Have you checked it? So I was like, no. And I was very scared. I didn't want to see it because I got to be disappointed. But then I opened it and then it came like I passed. So it was such a relief because you were scared. You were really scared that we would not pass.
Right. So out of the group of 4 people who sat for the exam, 3 people cleared the exam. Okay. Now, once you got the result, you told your friends and family. What has been the reaction of people around you?
So I didn't actually celebrate because I was a bit sad that my friend didn't pass. But so my friends and family and all, they were reacting normally, like, wow, you passed and everything, that's great. But I think I was just a bit down that day.
Okay.
But I was very surprised as well, yeah.
Okay. But if you, when you move ahead in career and you'll go and say people that, okay, I've cleared FRM, I feel that is where you'll actually see the difference. When you actually join corporate and you see people, a lot of people have tried and they could not clear. So, because this is what I have seen in my companies, there were a few senior guys who could not clear the exam. So that gave you the kind of attention. It is more about perception that you know stuff. So this certification helps you to create that perception. And also now, if somebody comes to you and asks you, okay, I want to prepare for FRM, what 2-3 tips you can share from your journey?
So I think first of all, you should get your concepts right. So the basic understanding of all of the basic concepts in all of the 4 books, you should get it right, and your foundations should be clear. And after that, only you can move ahead with the other details and everything. So first step would be that, get your foundation and get your basics cleared. Second would be for quants and valuation. I think you should just keep practicing till you get it and not dwell on chapters that you're not getting. So you should just focus on the chapters that you are getting because they will be giving you the marks. And I think consistency also is pretty important because if you're giving the exam 6 months later or something, you sort of in the zone like, oh, I have 6 months more left, so I can just wait.
Right.
So yeah, you should be consistent, put in specific number of hours, maybe every day or every week that you would dedicate to FRM.
Right. And one more point which I would like to add, if you're getting low scores and you're solving question bank, don't get disheartened. So I know you guys have called me and said कि बहुत ही कम score आ रहा है, and you're not satisfied because 50% was almost 50-55% you were getting.
Yeah.
Everybody was getting the same thing because I could see from back end what has been the normal score. So that is why I was telling you, don't worry, everybody is doing the same way. So you just need to focus on the wrong things and make sure you don't do that mistake. So great, wonderful. I'm very happy for you, Abha, and specifically because clearing the exam in the college is not easy. A lot of people feel that you have a lot of time to prepare, but you know your own challenges, right? Because you've not seen the corporate world. Okay.
Yeah.
The first time, I think so. You guys must have seen that risk management word so many
Yeah.
times in a day,
Correct.
primarily.
Mhm.
And the futures and options, you've never dealt with market. So
Yeah.
they're equally difficult for you in terms of understanding the concept and redoing it. And that is where the point that consistency makes a big difference, that you did not lose heart and you continued preparing for stuff. And this
Yeah.
certification definitely, because I'm very sure in the next coming May, you will complete level 2 also. In when you go to the corporate
I
world,
hope.
yes, it is. You will clear, don't worry. And when you go to the corporate world, you'll realize that a lot of people want to give this exam that way. I'm telling you from my experience, I'm now training people who are around 40, 45 age also. Senior managers in SBI Bank, in IndusInd Bank, they are giving the exam.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
now they cannot give that much amount of time because they have work, they have to manage family.
Yeah.
So they always say, okay, I should have done this in my college days, or I should have done it in my first few years of my college job primarily. So that way. Wonderful. And thank you very much for joining in and taking out time. And I'm
Thank
sure this interview is going to be really helpful for students who are planning to go for the FRM exam in level 1, level 2 in the coming years. And they will watch this interview, they'll get motivated and they will clear the exam. Thank you very much, Ava, for your time.
you. Thank you for having me.
Bye.